Hi, my name's Jan, and welcome to Silky Steel's Kitchen Witchery. Now, this morning I woke up and I was watching the news, and I thought, hey, today's a good day to make a poppet. Now, if you don't know what a poppet is, some people call them hoodoo, some people call them voodoo dolls. You get the idea. So, I decided it's a great time to make a poppet. I think this community needs one. So the first thing I did was I went out and gathered a bunch of things that reminded me of this entity that I'm going to make a puppet of, and thought I'd show you how to put one together in case you wanted to do it yourself. Now, there's no real structure or instructions for making a puppet. You just do what feels right to you. So let me show you what I've got going on. I don't know if you can see. Um, So I've got some fabric, and this one happens to already be sewn in a loop. You don't have to have it sewn in a loop, but I like it because I like to put um, it on something that will stretch it out while I draw the shape I'm going to make. And this one, oops, not good enough. Let's make it a different size. Okay, so I stretch it out. It makes it easier to draw on. You can pin it to something if you want, or if your fabric's not real stretchy, you can just lay it out flat and draw on it. But this is kind of a silky, stretchy fabric that I would have a difficult time drawing on if I just tried to do it flat. So I put it on this little piece of paper, and I'm going to draw the entity that I want to make a puppet of. So I've gathered up a bunch of things that remind me of this entity. And I've already threaded all my needles, so you don't have to watch me do that, because that could take a while. It did. Um, Alrighty, so I'm gonna let me see if this pen will work on this fabric. So, I'm gonna start by, and you're gonna have to see this upside down, because I normally would draw for you upside down, but I don't think I could do that. I'll turn it over when I've got the figure drawn. And what you want to do is have two layers of fabrics, so you have a front and a back. But you only have to draw on one for the shape. So, let's see. I think this one kind of has sort of a wedgy shaped head. And it has sloping, not very strong shoulders. It probably wears shoulder pads. But it's really weak, so I don't think it has much in the way of shoulders. And then it's got arms. And then it's got itty bitty little hands. This particular entity. So you make the other arm. And an itty bitty little hand. And then it's got a body. Hoping when this fabric isn't stretched out that it'll go wider, because this entity is pretty fat, if you ask me. And I know about these. So, yeah, there's that. And then he's got legs. And then he's got these really big ankles. So I'm going to give him some ankles. Be perfect. And then since he has little hands, I'm guessing he has little feet. His shoes look small anyway. I'll give him some little feet. Okay. Gonna do. You. I'm going to take this off of the paper and get it up flat. Thinking I might need to stitch the shape before I put the clothes on it because I can't see what I drew through the fabric. So I've got some black thread here that I've already threaded, so you don't have to watch me do that because that can take some time. Tell you what. So all I'm going to do is stitch along this line that I drew. It shouldn't take too long because I'm going to make big stitches because it doesn't really matter. I don't think this particular poppet needs to last too long, especially if it does its job. Stitching out if it takes too long. I'll tell you how long it takes after I'm done. So this is where I speed it up so that you don't have to go through the really boring parts. I also decided not to sew a suit for him since he's really not worth that much of my time. I will speed this back up again when it gets interesting. I almost forgot. This entity. I don't usually get too many phone calls. Oh, what I was saying is I need to make something to go inside. I'm just going to tie a bunch of little knots in this thing. Things not be too big, but not small enough so that it doesn't do anything. Ooh, where'd it go? Thought I lost it. So that little guy, I believe some people calling him Barry. I can't remember calling that little guy Barry. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this little guy. What you can't see here is I took a piece of red cord and tied it up to a clot of knots, as it were. You can't quite see it on the screen, but you'll see what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to put him in the leg. That's probably where he lives. I decided to speed this part up because it was just taking me too long to tie this knot. So, save you from the boredom of it. Enjoy the mice. Be careful with thread because I have a cat. And I used to have a cat that liked to eat thread, and this cat would totally eat thread if I ever let him near any. And he had to have the cat that did eat the thread had to have quite an expensive little surgery, which did not make me very happy. Thread again. I have no idea where he got it because I was quite careful at that point, and I had to do the surgery all over again. And then the cat got really skinny because he was basically a bariatric bypass at that point. But he was alive. He was happy. His name was Duncan the Monkey Boy. I miss him. He was a cool cat. He was a tuxedo. Mm. So anyway, that makes me very careful with thread. I had 2 pieces of thread cost me $6,000. I forgot a couple of things I'm gonna have to go get. I have paint shoes and socks on because I don't know how he gets his socks over these ankles, personally. And I'm not even sure. Right? It's nasty underwear. I didn't want any more on using for his clothing. Because, yeah, he didn't deserve anything better. So you can make these things with anything you want. I'm going to sew around the bottom of his other leg before I start stuffing, so I can do them both at the same time. Oh, I'll just stuff him through the shoulder. Okay, I'm going to sew around the whole thing. I'll probably cut all this out because at least leave the entertaining bits, I suppose. Used to go with the little hands. Not even stuff the hands, they're so wimpy. And like I said, these do not have to be perfect. Matter of fact, perfect is probably not what you're trying to go for. I like accurate, but not necessarily perfect, personally. So, put the patches in that make it the entity that it's supposed to be in the first place. But other than that, haphazard is a good way to build these. Unless you're building one for protection for a friend. So then you want it to be nice. I've never done that because I have other ways of protecting my friends. Uh, but just saying, they're not necessarily for evil, bad things. I personally don't generally wish ill on anyone. My swift justice be done. I wish no harm on anyone. But on the rare occasion where somebody truly deserves it, I don't mind. You do with yours are your business. Now, in the same line of thinking, Louisiana, they make something called a gree, which is a little bag with things in it that can either protect or harm. They a little easier to prepare than one of these, but I had somebody give me one time, and I really had no idea what their intention was behind it. So I did a little spell on it and buried it very far away from me. You never want to burn those sort of things because the smoke releases it to the sky, and that's not what you want to do with something with ill intent in it. And if you find something that looks like it may have been made with ill intent out in the middle of nowhere, leave it alone. It is not your problem to carry. Hey, we have reached the shoulder. Stretching it so that the thread will stretch. This is very non-stretchy thread and a very stretchy fabric, so I'm going to make sure it moves with it. And I'm going to do a little knot right here just to keep it from pulling off while I stuff it. Hey, now we're going to take some stuff and stuff this thing. So I've left an opening here at the shoulder where I can just stick stuff in there. The reason I have this stuffing is because it was from a pillow I hated, so it's appropriate. It may look like it's a good material, it's not. It wasn't cared for by me. I hate to let things go to waste, though, so I tend to save things. Too much, but what the heck. Still here. Some of this down in the legs. Needle to go in through the fabric. And we're stubborn. That Luke doesn't need much. He's got tiny feet. This is big part. I'm gonna snip this part. Easier to open. his arm. Not even worrying about the hands because they're so little. Who cares, right? So good. Thing in the little tiny hand. Perfect. A little more for his body because this is one fat mofo. Of course, we'll need to stuff his head. Fat head too. Yeah, for that one. Okay, so everyone knows that the head has got gray matter in it, and it allows us to think. So I've got this dark gray matter, and I'm not even going to try and make it look organized because I don't think there's any organization to that person's brain. I'm just going to scrumble it up in there, maybe cut it in a few pieces because I don't think his brain works right personally, so let's just damage it. And maybe throw some broken blood vessels in it because I think this person has had many strokes. So let's get some blood vessels in there. Some sort of fashion. We don't really care because there's no rhyme or reason in them. Throw some of the body fat up there too, because this dude, right? I have one more thing I want to add because everybody has a heart. So I'm gonna give him a heart. But I'm pretty sure his is awfully sour, so I'm gonna use a piece of lime. Put it where his heart goes. Because he's a sour, sour man. So let's just stick them. Hope he eats citrus. I don't think he's ever eaten a piece of fruit in his life. Because McDonald's doesn't sell it. Okay, so now I just have to rethread my needle and sew him up closed. Oh, this could be interesting. Could go well, could take forever. Never know with me. Ooh, first try. Not bad. All right, let's get him closed up. I'm really happy with this. This is turning out nicely. I still have things to do, though. Let's tie this off. I have to be too careful, though, because this does not need to last. I doubt if it needs to last throughout this year, so. Fairly certain it doesn't, but Spirit tells me it's true. Okay, now I'm going to cut it out and make it a suit. So I decided to speed this part up. I'm just cutting out his body and deciding not to sew a suit for him because he's not worth that much of my time. Enjoy the mice. So, you know what? I'm feeling lazy and this doesn't deserve all this energy, so I'm going to give him some hair and then I'm going to paint his clothes on. So I have this nice orange thread. It's yarn, actually. See what I can do with it. Once again, sewing on all this hair takes some time, and you can see it in fast motion is about as clear as you can see it when it's going at normal speed, so I decided to speed it up. And since he's got beady little eyes, I figure I'll use beads. See if my threading goes well again. Didn't take too long. And a very personalized endeavor. You can make it any way you want that makes you happy. In this case, beady eyes are going to make me happy. There's Idiot. Huh? His heart's bleeding. Give him a hint of a nose. At this point, you know the drill. You don't need to watch me sew on his beady eyes and his ugly face. It will be there eventually. So that's what I'm thinking about right now. Just sewing it shut. Never had to hear it again. Be a happy woman. We go. Um, since I wasn't planning, I suppose I could make him a jacket real quick. No, he doesn't deserve it. Will, however, where'd it go? Oh, here it is. We'll make him a tie. He deserves a tie. I found this scrap of fabric and it was already shaped like a tie. I thought that was just perfect. So I'm gonna stitch it on here real quick. Put a tie. Engine in the first place. No, no. It's never because he never takes his tie off unless he's sitting in a little cart, and he doesn't sit in those little carts anymore because he's too weak. Um, I really cannot wait till I get my new glasses in 2 weeks because I can't see. Oh, that was a lovely little tie on him. That mister. Get down, please. Get down. Gotta make sure the tie stays on, so I'm tying it snug. Oof. Almost. Let's go over his mouth. Before I paint his suit on him, it just doesn't want to stay over there. Maybe if I pull it all the way the other way. There we go. A little better. Anyway, before I do that, there's one little thing I need to do. I need to free this little guy that's in here. He needs to be able to go wherever he wants to go. So there, now he's in there loose. Just the way I want him. Let go, little knot. And I almost forgot. He wouldn't leave home without it. Let me go get the other paint for his suit. Um, no, I'm just gonna color his suit on because I don't care that much. There we go. Let's give him a suit. Don't care anything about you. This is more like it. I just don't care enough to make his whole suit out of fabric for this jerk. Scribble, scribble. Wish I had brown marker because Poopy Pants probably needs one. My language. Edit. And so, I have just taken all my frustration. Oh, I almost forgot. Don't leave home without it. Oh, where's my brush? Well, there it is. Good. Can't forget the makeup. Want to get it in his eyes. Leave the nice white spot under there. Leave it splotchy and runny, cause yeah. Oh, and I forgot one more thing. Mhm. Can't forget the splotchies on the hands. I wish I don't have much choices in the colors of my markers. So we do that one blue and purple. But we get the idea. There. Hope you have as much fun making yours as I had making mine. In case you didn't see him. And we let our little buddy in the leg go free, and we've got the citrus in his heart, which is squishy. Yeah, and the comb over. Yeah, I think that's about right. What do you guys think? Like and subscribe, and tell your witchy friends. See if I can make my mouse work. Thank you for watching.